So do you know what we were discussing in the last class? What are we discussing in the last class?
Input statement options.
So what are the input methods we discussed so far?
Input method, multiple
Column input method, simple list input method. In that simple list, advanced list, and modifier.
We were discussing about a modifier input method or advanced input method. In the modifier input method, we use different types of special modifiers. Remember what are the modifiers that we have seen? So far we have seen dollar symbol. So why we use the dollar symbol? We use the dollar symbol to read the character data. We use the dollar symbol to read the character data. And then we have seen ampersand symbol. You know, sometimes the data may contain embedded spaces and also data would be non-aligned manner. If the data contains embedded spaces, but the data is a non-aligned manner, that value and the next value, if both are separating with at least 2 consecutive spaces, what we can do, we can use ampersand symbol. But sometimes we are going to have a data values, continuous values without any spaces, but we are going to have so we are going to have without any spaces, we are going to have lengthy values. In that scenario, to read the data, we use colon symbol. And then if you want to skip n number of columns, what is the symbol that we use? Plus symbol. And then if you want to skip, if you want to treat single or double quotations or special characters as part of the data, we use a title symbol. And then sometimes if the data comes in multiple lines, one observation comes in multiple lines, and if the data values are contains embedded spaces, we use a multiple input statement, or we can also use hash symbol and line number, and then we also use / symbol. So these were the symbols that we have discussed in the last class. Clear, everybody, up to this point?
Yes, sir.
So this was the end of the advanced input method or modifier input method. And after this one, the next method that we are discussing in today's class is named input method. When we use a named input method, you know, sometimes this is how we will get the data values. This is the data. You know how this data is different from other data?
It's not audible, sir.
Equal to.
Variables equals to observations.
Very good. Along with the values, we have variable names. Every time we have variable name is equal to value, isn't it? We have variable name is equal to value. So when we have a data in this way, how to read this data? If you want to read this data, we are going to use a method called named input method. How to write the named input method? Now say data. I want to create a data set called weight club. I'm writing the weight club. You do not require infile statement because anyway, by default, it's in stream data. Now, when you're writing an input statement, you know what you should do? Every time you should write a variable name is equal to symbol. Now, SAS is going to look for that variable is equal to in the data. Wherever you have that variable is equal to value. And after that, whatever the value that we have, now this value will be get captured into ID variable. Understand this one? So in the input statement, every time we should write variable name is equal to. Now SAS looks for that is equal to symbol. Whatever the data that we have after is equal to symbol, now that data will come into that variable. So now ID is equal to, then what should I write now? Now I should write name is equal to. So since the name contains character data, after the is equal to symbol, we should specify the dollar symbol. And then what the next variable we should write now? We should write team is equal to. So this is also character data. We should write the dollar symbol. And then the next variable that we should write is, start weight. And by the way, you should remember, you should understand one thing. When writing a variable names here, you should not write your own variable names. We should always write how we have the variable names in the data. In the same way, we should write it. So since we have ID, you should always write ID. You should not write ID number or employee ID or something, because SAS is going to look for that variable is equal to. The name is equal to. So that's why we should always write the same name. So you should write the start weight is equal to, and then what we should write? You should write end weight is equal to. And finally, you should keep a semicolon. Then what we should do? You should write the data lines and the semicolon. And you may have a doubt. In the data we have ID capital letters. So can we write small letters here? Yes, we can write it because it's a program that is not the data. So you can write in any case. Understand this one. And finally, if you want, you can write the run statement. Now select the program and execute the program. There is a small problem with this program. By default, what is the length of the name variable?
20.
By default, it's 8. So since the length is only 8, SAS cannot read the complete name. That's why if I select the program and execute the program, in the libraries, work library, you will have a weight club data set. Now, can you see in the weight club data set what we have? We have a name, but we do not have a name complete value. We have only 8 characters. Now, if you want to get the complete name, what you should do? You should give at least 15 because we have the longest name Aslam Aknate. Now name dollar symbol, I will specify 15 $. So now I increase the length of the name variable to 15. Now I select the program, execute the program. Now we are going to have weight club data set. Now can you see we have the data successfully into all the variables. So in the input statement, if you specify variable name is equal to, why we should write the variable name is equal to? Because in the data, we have all the time variable name is equal to value. If you have a data in this way, we use named input method. How we can define named input method? We specify the name of the variable followed by equal sign. Now SAS looks for that equal sign. And whatever the data that we have after that equal sign, that value will go into that variable. Understand this one? Now, what is the advantage with this method? This time in the input statement, what I'm going to do? I am going to specify first end weight is equal to. Can I write the end weight is equal to? Yes, sir. First of all, I'm writing end weight is equal to. Anyway, SAS is going to search for end weight is equal to. Wherever you have end weight is equal to, and after the is equal to symbol, whatever the value that we have, now that value will go into this variable. So that means what you can understand from this one, now you can write variable names in any order. So team is equal to dollar symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Now I'm writing a start weight is equal to. Okay, start weight is equal to. Then I want to have an ID number ID. Now I'm writing ID is equal to. And then finally, I want to have a name is equal to dollar symbol. I want to have a length of 15. Now I'm writing the 15 $. Now I want to have a weight club 1. Now tell me what is the first variable I will get now? Anyway, since we have is equal to, first it will go to end weight is equal to, and now it is going to get 165. And then now it will go to team and it will get the red. Then it will go to start weight and it will get the 189. And then it will go to ID, it will capture 1023. And then it will go to name is equal to, and it is going to capture the name value. Now I'm selecting the program, executing the program. Yes, we have a weight club 1. And now can you see we have the data. Understand this one? Is this clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, sometimes the data may be like this one. Now, how this data is different from the previous data?
Not aligned.
You can say data is not in order. In the first three observations, we have name value first, then team value, then start weight, end weight, and ID number. In the last three observations, we have ID value first, then name, then team, then start weight, and then weight. It doesn't matter what is that order it might be, then still you can create a data set. Now I want to have weight club 2. I am specifying input statement. Yes, I want to have ID is equal to first. Then I'm writing the name is equal to dollar symbol. I want to have a length of 15 dot. Then I want to have a team is equal to character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Then I want to have an end weight. Of course, you should write start weight is equal to. Then you should write end weight is equal to. Finally, semicolon. Then you should write the data lines. It doesn't matter what is that order of the data. You can write variable names in whatever the order you want to have. You can write it in that order in the input statement. Now select the program, execute the program. Still you'll get the weight club 2, and yes, we are getting the data. So you no need to have a data in order. You can write the variable names in any order, and you can write the variable names in the input statement, whatever order you want to. Now you can write that one. Clear, everybody?
Yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
called
sir.
this is called named input method.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Yes.
When we are
Then-
specifying 15 for name, like
Mhm.
even if the data is not aligned also, it will take accordingly only.
Yes, it will take accordingly that one.
Sir,
Yes.
hello. Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can't you write in the name variable as 6 to 20 like that, sir? We used to write in
No.
the ampersand.
No, you cannot write here. No, because data is not in aligned manner. When we can use that
Sir,
method, when the data is in aligned manner like this one. But here you
we
can
can
write.
use in the aligned. Okay,
Say, for
okay,
example,
okay.
if you do not want to use it named input method, if you want to use a column input method, what you should do? Input. I want to have ID number. Sorry, you can write any variable name. ID number, name, dollar symbol, then team, dollar symbol, then start weight, then what you will write? You will write end weight. Okay. Then if you want to read the ID number, what is the starting column for ID number? If you keep my cursor here, can you see what the starting column I'm getting? Can you see the starting column?
4.
4.
Four.
So what is the ending column?
7.
7.
7. Now after ID number, you should write the 4-7 because we have data from 4th column to 7th column. Then you should write starting column for the name is 14 and ending column is 28. Now name dollar symbol 14-28. This is how we can write it. But this is going to be lengthy process, like a time taking process. No, when I have a anyway variable is equal to facility, I will use named input method. It is going to be easy for me.
Okay, sir.
Okay, now this is my data. Now if the data is in this way, can you tell me what is the method that I can use?
Column input method.
Ampersand, sir.
Ampersand, column input method.
Column input method. Simple input method.
Second method of simple method, and we can use column input method, and we can use second method of simple listing method, isn't it? Now, can we write both one more time? So for example, I want to create a data weight club. Data weight club. Now I'm writing the input statement. I want to have ID number, then name dollar symbol. Then I want to have a start weight. Sorry, name after the name, I want to have a team. Character available dollar symbol. I want to have a start weight. Then I want to have end weight. Okay. And after that, what you will write? You will write the data line. And finally, we'll keep a semicolon and we will write the run statement. You know, sir, if you want to use a column input method, this is how we should write it. How we should write? Now we should ID number 1-4, name $symbol 6-20, because I know the column numbers I'm writing. So you know how to write the column numbers, right? I'm writing 21-30. Start weight, I'm specifying 34. And then I'm writing finally 36-38. What is this method, by the way? ఏ మెథడ్ అంటామండి దీన్ని?
Column input.
Column input method. Yes, sir, we are going to have weight kilo data set. Now for the same data, what is the second method that we can use? I'm going to keep this statement in the comment section. Now comments. Now I'm going to write one more step. So now this time I want to use second method of simple listing method. I told you in the second method of simple list method, you need to consider the entire line as one bread, and you should segregate, you should distribute number of slices into one variable. You should write either 4 dot or 5 dot. You know, you can write the 5 dot. But if you write the 4 dot, what is the problem? What you should use? Remember in the last class we used?
Plus.
Plus one. For the name, now we can write the $15 dot, but how much of you need to skip now? How many columns you should skip now? +4. Because 15 will come from here to here, and then what we should do? Now we need to skip the next 4 column. And for the team, how many columns we have given in the last class? 6 dot. And how many columns you should skip now? 1 column. But the start weight, how much you should write? If you write 3 dot, how many columns you should skip now? +1. And then you should write end weight, and in the end weight you should write the 3 dot. Understand this one? And what is this method is called? Second method of simple list input method. So you can use either this method or this method. Of course, if you want to use, you can also use ampersand. But if we do not require ampersand, because the data is in aligned manner, you can use anyone. You can use any of these methods. Understand this one? Yes, you can use ampersand also, but we do not require. But now in today's class, I'm not going to use any one of these methods. Now I want to use a different method called formatted input method. What is the method? Formatted input method. What is this format input method? How we can write the data? How we can create a data set? In format input method, you should write data set name. I want to have weight club 1. Now I'm writing the input statement. When the data contains embedded spaces, but if the data is in aligned manner, yes, we can use a column input method or second list input method. And yes, now we can also use a formatted input method. In the formatted input method, in input statement, before each and every variable, you should specify the @ symbol. ప్రతి వేరియబుల్ కు ముందు ఏం చేయాలండి? You should specify @ symbol. And after the @ symbol, you should specify the column number from which column you want to read the data into that variable. So the first one, I want to create ID number. If I keep my cursor here, now can you see on the right side down, what is the column number you can see now? 1. Now I'm going to specify @1. That means from the first one column, from the column number 1, I want to read the data into ID number. So in the input statement, @1, and after that, you should write the variable name. And after that, how much width you want to read into ID number now. See how much width you require now? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what you should do, after the ID number, you should write 4 dot. So that means from the first column, the next 4 columns, I want to read into ID number. So in the format input method, first you're going to keep @ symbol and the starting column, then the variable name, and then how much width you want to read into that variable. Okay. Now the second variable is a name variable. Again, you should specify @ symbol And now we should specify what is the column, from which column you want to read the data. From which column I want to read the data? Can you see what is the starting column for the name? 6. Now we should write at 6. So that means from the 6th column, I want to read the data into name variable. Since name is a character variable, $symbol, how much width you want to read? The longest name that we have in ASLA magnet, which requires 15. Now we should write 15 dot. Understand this one? And then again, you should keep @ symbol. And now you should specify the column number. If I keep my cursor here, the column number I'm getting 25. Now we should write at 25. Then the variable name, which is a team variable. It is a character variable, so $symbol. Then how much width you want to read into team? The longest team value we have yellow, it requires 6. Now we should write the 6 dot. And then after that, now I'm going to specify @ symbol. Now I want to read the start weight. The starting column for the start weight is 32. Now at 32, so that means from the 32nd column, I want to read into start weight. Then how much width you want to read into start weight? I want it 3 columns. So now we should the 3 dot. Understand? And again, the last one, which is @ symbol. Now keep your cursor, which is at 36. Now I'm going to specify 36. Then I'm writing end weight variable name. And then after that, we require 3, width 3. Now we should write the 3 dot. And finally, keep a semicolon. Now write the data lines. And finally, keep a semicolon. And if you want, you can keep semicolon finally. Now write the run statement. And this is called formatted input method. So in format input method, in input statement, before each and every variable, you should specify @ symbol and the starting column. Then the variable name. If it is a character variable, $symbol, then how much width you want to read. Now I'm selecting this program, executing this program. Yes, we are going to have Way Club 1. Now can you see? Yes, we got the data into Way Club 1. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
This is called format input method. You know, what is the advantage of format input method over column input method, or, second method of simple list input method? In future, we are going to deal with non-standard data. So that means what you mean by non-standard data? In future, in the data, we are going to have a date values like this one, 13th May, maybe 2022, or sometimes we are going to have data values like this one. Numerical data will come with special characters. If you want to read this non-standard data, column input method or second method of simple list input method will not be useful. So we can read the non-standard data very effectively with that format input method. Remember, I will discuss about that non-standard data maybe in the next week. Non-standard means the date values, time values. Sometimes you will get the numerical data with special characters. So if you want to read this data properly, format input method, the best method to read the data. So that means when the data is in aligned manner, we can use 3 methods. One is column input method. The second one is second method of simple list input method. And the third one is formatted input method. You know what is another advantage of format input method? You can write variable names in any order. Now see, what I want to do, now this time I'm writing input statement. I want to read team first. Where the team value is starting? The team value is starting from the 25th column at 25. Now I'm writing team. Since it's a character variable, $symbol, I want to have 6 dot. So first, which variable is going to get read now? The team value. So anyway, it will go to 25th column. From the 25th column, the next 6 columns will come into team variable. Now then I want to have end weight. Now @ symbol. So column number, I guess it is a 36 or something. Yes, I'm going to specify at 36. Yes, I want to have into end weight, and I want to have width 3 dot. Then I want to have a start weight @ symbol. Now I'm specifying 32. Then this time I want to have a start weight. And then I want to have a name. So at the red symbol, I'm going to specify 6 name character variable dollar symbol. Yes, I want to have a 15-bit. And then finally, I want to have an ID number at 1. Yes, ID number, I want to have 4 dot. So what you can understand from this one now, you can write variable names in any order. Now see, if I execute this program, yes, we are going to have 80 club, team first, end weight, start weight, then name, then ID number. Understand this one? So that means by using format input method, we can give the variable names in any order.
Sir,
Yes,
start weight పక్కన width మెన్షన్ చేయకపోయినా వచ్చింది సార్.
start weight పక్కన
width మెన్షన్
వచ్చేస్తుంది.
చేయలేదు కదా, అయినా వచ్చేసింది.
విత్ మెన్షన్ చేయకపోతే వేరియబుల్ లెంత్ ఎంత అవుతుందంటే, వేరియబుల్ లెంత్ ఎంత అవుతుందంటే 8 అయిపోతుందండి. అది మీకు 3 కావాలనుకోండి, ఇప్పుడు 3 డాట్ పెట్టు.
ఓకే సార్.
సో ఈ టీమ్ దగ్గర నేను 6 డాట్ పెట్టలేదు అనుకోండి, డిఫాల్ట్ గా వేరియబుల్ ఎంత టీమ్ డేటా వచ్చేస్తుందండి. లెంత్ ఎంత అవుతుంది? 8 అవుతుంది. But why should I unnecessarily lose 8 bytes? So because I want to have in the maximum, I want to have only 6. Now we'll specify the 6 dot. Understand this one?
Yes, sir.
So this is about a formatted input method. Clear, everybody? Can I go to the next one? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now this is my data. I want to create data set. Now I'm writing the data. You know, if you have a data like this one, what is the method that we can use? Which method I can use?
Column input method,
Column
input
method.
input list, formatted.
But now I want to do one thing. Now I'm writing data. I'm writing weight club 1 or weight club 2. You know, you do not require infile statement. I will write an input. In the input statement, generally what you will write? Here an input statement, what we should write in the input statement?
Variable.
names.
ID name.
I'm not writing any variable names. Simply, I am writing input semicolon, then I'm writing the data lines. Okay. Finally, keeping a semicolon, right? You know, an input statement without any arguments or an input statement without any variable names is called null input. What will happen if you read like this one? Yes, I have given input statement, but didn't specify any variable names. If you specify an input statement without any variable names is called a null input statement. If I execute a program now, you know what will happen? It will create a data set, but you will not have any data in it. Then what is the use of this one? There is no practical usage of this one, but in the interview, they will ask you how we can create a 0 variable data set. Now see, I'm going to the log window. In the log window, now we can find a note. The data set work.weight club 2 has 6 observations and 0 variables. So that means the data entered into in the backend. But since we do not have a variable names, we couldn't able to see the data in the data set. Understand this one? So a null input method will create a 0 variable data set. In the interview, they're going to ask you how to create a 0 variable data set. We can create a 0 variable data set by using null input method. What do you mean by null input method? An input statement without any arguments is called null input method. Understand this one?
Sir, small doubt.
Yes.
Formatted input method non-aligned manner lo unte ela sir?
You cannot use in for non-aligned manner. If you want to use formatted input method, data should be in aligned manner.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Clear, everybody? This is called a null input method. Now tell me, this is my data. Tell me how many ways you can create a data set if the data is like this one. How many methods we
Column
input
input.
methods we can use?
3.
3 methods,
Column
right?
input method.
First of
Column
all,
input,
I'm
simple
ready.
list method.
Very good. Simplest method or
Method.
Column input
Formatted.
Formatted.
Column input or formatted.
very good. First of all, I'm writing a column input method. I'm writing ID number, name, dollar symbol, then team dollar symbol, sorry, team dollar symbol. Then I'm writing the start weight. Then I'm writing the end weight. Then I'm writing the data lines. Okay. Finally, I'm keeping a semicolon. Now write the run statement. In a column input method, what you will do? After each and every variable, you will specify the starting column hyphen ending column, name 6-20, and the team 25-30, and the start weight. What you will do?
30.
Or something, is it 32-32, 33, 34? And end weight, what should I write? I should write 36-38. Now, if I execute this program, yes, I'm going to have a weight club data set, and yes, we have a data. Now, I do not want to use this method, so I'm going to keep in the comments. I want to use the second method, which is second method of simple list input method. Ram Gupta, can you please keep your mic on mute? Now, I'm writing ID number. You know that what we should do, 4 dot plus 1, name $15 dot plus 4, and then team $6 dot plus 1. Then I want to have a start weight, 3 dot, and then after that 1 plus 1, and the weight, 3 dot. What is this method? This is called second method of simple list input method. Yes, I want to have a weight club 1. Now select the program, execute the program. Yes, we have the data. Now, I do not want to use either this one. Then what is the third method we can use now? Formatted input method.
Formatted.
In the format input method, before each and every variable, we should write the @ symbol and starting column. Then the variable name, then the width. Before the name, again, you should write the @ symbol, and then you should write the starting column, name, character variable dollar symbol, 15 dot. Again, before the team, @ symbol, starting column, team dollar, width dot. And again, before the start weight, @ symbol 32, start weight, and then you should write the 3 dot. And then again, @ symbol 36, end weight, then you should write the 3 dot. Now, yes, I want to create a weight club 2. I'm writing weight club 2, select the program and execute the program. Yes, you will get the weight club 2 and you will get the data. So the same data, we can do it by 3 different methods. But now I do not want to use any one of these methods now. Now again, I'm taking the same data. Now I want to create a data set called weight club 3. Now I'm writing weight club 3 data, weight club 3 input. Now I'm writing
Fifteen.
Formatted.
at 6 name. Since it's a character variable dollar symbol, I'm writing 15 dot. What is this method?
Formatted.
Formatted input method.
Very good, format input method. Now I'm writing team character variable 25-30. What is this method?
Column input method.
Column input method.
That is in a column input method. Arun Reddy, can you keep your mic on mute? Then I'm writing start wait. I'm writing end wait. Now finally, I'm keeping the data lengths. You know here, what is the input method I'm using here for start wait and wait?
Simple.
First method of
Simple
simple
input.
listing method. Can you see in one input statement? Tarun Reddy, Mr. Tarun, am I audible to you? Now, in one input statement, I had given second method of simple listing method. In the same input statement, I had given formatted input method. Then I had given column input method. Then again, I have given first method of simple list input method. So that means in one input statement, I'm using more than one input method. If you are using more than one input method in the same input statement, we call it as a mixed input method. So what do you mean by mixed input method? If you use more than one input method in the same input statement, we call it as a mixed input method. Now see what I'm going to do. I'm going to select this program and I'm going to execute this program. Yes, we are going to have weight club 3. Now can you see? Yes, we got the data successfully into weight club 3. Understand this one? So
Sir, end wait which input method, sir?
ఫస్ట్ ప్రతిరోజు మనం ఏం చేస్తాం ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఇన్పుట్ స్టేట్మెంట్ నేర్చుకోకముందు మనం ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఎలా రాసేవాళ్ళం సింప్లీ we use set the variable names in the order of the data, isn't it? Understand this one? Everybody clear?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir, whether the data should be in the observation aligned manner or not aligned in a non-aligned manner, sir, for mixed input method?
You can do anything. So it depends upon the requirement. So for example, I will do this one. Now, so for example, this is my data. I want to create data set. Now I'm writing data. I'm writing, say, for example, weight club 4. Now I'm writing the input, ID number, name, dollar symbol. But here, since data contains embedded spaces, but the data is a non-aligned manner, that value and next value separating with 2 consecutive spaces, what I can do, I can write the ampersand here. And then what you can do, since we require the length, I'm writing the 15 dot. Then I'm writing the team dollar symbol, and then I'm writing the start weight. Then I'm writing the end weight. What is this method now, by the way? Here, in one variable, I'm using advanced modifier for the remaining variables.
Simple listing.
Simple listing method. I'm using both the methods. So this is also called a mixed input method. Understand? So now what you can understand from this one, nobody will ask you what is the input method that you are using. Ultimately, what you should do, you should get the data properly. Whether using a column input method or a format input method or a mixed input method or named input method, nobody cares about that one. All we need to do is we need to get the data properly. And now, as a SAS programmer, it's up to you which method you should follow. By seeing the data, which method you feel comfortable, which method is going to be fit for that data, you should choose that method. And of course, in one input statement, you can use multiple methods so to read the data properly. Understand this one? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం వెయిట్ కప్ 3 లోకి వెళ్ళండి సార్ ఒకసారి.
Yes.
డేటా సెట్ లో ఒకసారి ఓపెన్ చేయరా? ఇక్కడ 5 అబ్జర్వర్స్ వచ్చినాయి కదా సార్.
Yeah. 6 చేశాను. ఈ డాట్ సింబల్ పెట్టాను అనుకోండి. That we're going to get the 6th observation. So data set open చేస్తుంది. I'm closing the data set. I'm executing the program. Then you get the data. Because I didn't copy that dot symbol properly. That's why you didn't get it.
Okay, sir.
Anybody? Any doubts?
సార్ టైడల్ ఒక్కసారి చెప్తారా సార్?
Tidal symbol is going to consider single double quotations and special characters as part of the data. Understand?
సార్ ఒకసారి స్టార్టింగ్ మీరు రాసిన ఒకసారి వెళ్ళరా? స్టార్టింగ్ టుడే రిటర్న్ స్టార్టింగ్ స్టిల్ అప్స్.
This one.
No sir, symbols you written sir, that is modified to starting
I erased that one. I deleted that one.
Okay. Some of the I didn't understand sir, that's why
Clear everybody so far?
Hello, yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah, anybody?
Sir, you told to explain the day before yesterday class.
What we have missed in the day before yesterday's class?
Like, I don't know, sir. Actually, we 2-3 members are missed, sir. So, can you explain like brief?
sir, yesterday class I need total this sir, because list I didn't understand sir yesterday somewhat points.
You didn't attend yesterday's class?
I attended sir, some of the points not understand sir, because we are going for yesterday so much speed sir yesterday.
Is it?
Yes sir.
What we have discussed in yesterday's class, can you recall it? Modifiers.
సార్ ఒక్కసారి అది టైడల్ లో కొంచెం డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయి సార్. కొంచెం ఫాస్ట్ అయింది సార్. నిన్న అన్ని సింబల్స్ చెప్పారు కదా కొంచెం అక్కడ.
Yes sir, lot of symbols you explained sir, that did not understand sir actually.
ఇది ఒకటి చెప్పారు కదా సార్, టైడల్ సింబల్ లో ఇన్ఫైల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ యూజ్ చేశారు కదా సార్, డిఎస్డి. అక్కడ కొంచెం కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయిపోయింది సార్. అంటే డిఎస్డి వచ్చేసి మనకి కామాస్ అండ్ ఇన్వర్టెడ్ కామాస్ అది రీడ్ చేస్తుంది కదా, అయినా కూడా మీరు టైడల్ సింబల్ యూజ్ చేశారు కదా. సో అది కన్ఫ్యూజ్ ఉంది సార్, అంటే క్లారిటీ రాలేదు దాంట్లో.
This is the data, right?
Yes sir, ఇదే సార్.
What is that infile statement option I should use to read this data?
DSD sir.
DSD. If I use the DSD, what will happen?
Remove the inverted quotations and commas sir.
But I do not want to remove the inverted quotations because I want to read this entire thing as a one value.
Okay.
So if I use the DSD, what DSD will do? It will remove inverted quotation. If it is remove the inverted quotation, this is going to get exposed. If that is exposed, this also will be get removed. Comma got remove అయిపోయింది అనుకోండి, అప్పుడు ఏమవుతుంది? Red dresses will become one value. Washington will become another.
Yes.
But I want to consider this entire thing as only one value.
Okay.
So that means I want to treat this double quotation, this comma also is part of the data.
Okay.
So But since I have a comma delimiter, what is the option I should write in the infinite statement?
DST.
So now I'm creating a data DS data set. Now in the infinite statement, I'm writing the data length. So data length, and then I'm writing the DST. Now I'm writing the input. In the input statement, I'm specifying name, character variable dollar symbol. Then I want to have a score 1. Then I want to have a score 2. Then I want to have a score 3. Then what I want to have, I want to have a team dollar symbol. And then I want to have a division. This is also character variable dollar symbol, right? Now I'm writing the data lines. Now keep a semicolon, write the run statement. So since I'm using the DSD, it will treat this as a delimiter and it will remove this one and it will remove this one. So red dresses will become one value. So I do not want to do that one. Washington will become another value. I do not want. So what I want to do, whatever the DSD action of removal of this double quotation and this comma, I want to stop that one.
Okay.
If you want to stop that one, for which variable we want to assign this value?
Team.
Team. Now before the dollar symbol, you should specify the title symbol. Now what this title symbol will do, title symbol will arrest the action of the removal of singular double quotations.
Okay.
Now this title symbol will treat this double quotations and comma is part of the data. డేటాలో దాన్ని కూడా ఒక పార్ట్ కింద తీసుకుంటుందండి.
ఓకే కామా కూడా రీడ్ చేస్తుంది అది.
Yes, comma is also going to become part of the data.
Okay, sir.
But by default, the team variable length is only 5. Sorry, only 8. But I want to have this much length in name. Now, what should I do? I need to increase the length of the variable. Maybe I will keep 25.
Okay.
Now, see, if I execute this program, yes, you will get the DS data set. Now, can you see? I got the team values intact. Red dresses Washington is going to become one value.
Okay, sir.
Understand this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
సార్ డిఎల్ఎం యూస్ చేసినా కానీ ఇన్వర్టెడ్ కొటేషన్స్ రిమూవ్ అవ్వవు కదా సార్, అది వాడొచ్చు సార్ ఈ కేసులో?
You can use DLM also. You can use DLM also.
సార్ థర్డ్ నేమ్ ఫుల్ గా రాలేదు సార్, ఇన్కంప్లీట్ వచ్చింది.
ఏది? Because what is the length of the name? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. By default, what is the name length?
8.
8. If you want to have 9, what should I do? 9 dot. Now see, now we are going to get SULN complete. Didn't I specify that one? Now, what is the special character you want? Somebody wants to know? Plus symbol? Everybody clear with the plus symbol?
Sir, can you explain today's concept once again? I
Sir,
have
can
joined
you
late.
sir, can you write the symbol, sir, once again?
Why do you the plus add an dollar symbol?
Character variable.
For character data. Why will when the data contains embedded space, but the data is a non-aligned manner, but that value, next value is separating with the 2 consecutive spaces, we use ampersand symbol, isn't it? But if you do not have any spaces, but the lengths are irregular, then what is the symbol we use? What is the difference between ampersand and colon? Ampersand will read the data from the starting until it reaches 2 consecutive spaces. But what the colon symbol will do from the starting until it reaches single space.
The colon symbol example, can you tell, sir? Because yesterday that
This is my data. I want to read this data properly. Then what should I do? Data DS1 data, DS1. Then what should I write? Input. I want to have ID. Then I want to have a name, character variable, so dollars. Then I want to have a salary. Now I'm writing the data lines. Will I get the data if I execute this program? Anybody? What will happen if I execute this program?
We get data, but name variable have only 8
You will not
characters.
get the name complete value because by default, what is the length of the name variable?
8.
Only 8. If you have more than 8, that will be get ignored. But I want to have a complete value, then what should I do? I should increase the length of the name variable. How much length you require?
11.
If you want to read the Ramakrishna completely, you require? How much you require?
11.
11.
11
Now we
dot.
should write the 11 dot. But if you write the 11 dot, every time it looks for 11. In the first scenario, it's fine because Ramakrishna we have 11. But if you see the second observation, what is the value, name value I have? Padmaja.
200 is goes to name.
20,000 in the 20,000, sum of the part also will go to name.
Name.
Because I specified length 11. No, see, if I select the program and if I execute this program, now this is how we are going to have a DS1 data. So now see second observation, what is the problem? So now what should I tell the SAS system? Read length. But if you have it before the space, stop there. 11 వరకు రీడ్ చేయి కానీ దానికన్నా ముందే స్పేస్ వచ్చింది అనుకోండి you should stop there. To tell that one, what is the special character I'm going to use now? I'm going to use the colon symbol. And what this colon symbol will do, it will start reading from the starting until it reaches single space or the length that we specified or end of the record, whichever comes first. Understand this one? So when
sir,
we
I
use a
understand.
colon symbol, when the data doesn't have spaces, but if the data length is different, unequal, then we use a colon symbol. But now I have Ramakrishna Rama space and Mohan Prasad Mohan space Prasad. I have a embedded spaces. In this scenario, what should I do? If you have two consecutive spaces between the name and the next value, then what is the method I can use now?
Ampersand method.
I can use the ampersand because ampersand can read past the single space, but it will stop at two spaces.
Two spaces.
Understand this one? That is the difference between ampersand and colon. Is this clear, everybody?
అది వన్ స్పేస్ ఉందనుకోండి సార్ అప్పుడు ఎలా చేయడం సార్
ఇదండి
ఇప్పుడు ఆఫ్టర్ ద నేమ్ ఇప్పుడు 2 కన్సిక్యూటివ్ స్పేసెస్ ఉంటేనే యాంపర్సెండ్ యూస్ చేస్తాం కదా సార్ వన్ స్పేస్ ఉంటే సార్
you can't use any method. You won't get that much worse data. But if you have only one space, you can't read this data properly.
ఓకే సార్
Because నేను colon యూజ్ చేసాను అనుకోండి ఇక్కడ అయిపోతుంది ampersand యూజ్ చేసాను అనుకోండి it will read the even salary also into name.
ఓకే సార్ అదే సరే మెథడ్ లేదా అని అడుగుతున్నాను.
No. At least in this scenario, you should have the data in aligned manner. Yes.
If we have data without any spaces, then what can we use?
That is what. If you have any spaces, what we have used. Colon symbol, no?
After 111 also, we don't have any space, sir. Without any space.
You know, like this one.
Yes, sir.
We have like this one.
Yes, sir.
So that we should read as only one variable. In future, we can use functions to separate. ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తానంటే అంత ఒక వేరియబుల్ కింద రీడ్ చేసేస్తానండి ఓకే బట్ ఫ్యూచర్ లో ఫంక్షన్స్ ఉంటాయి మనకి బై యూజింగ్ ఫంక్షన్స్ వీ కెన్ కట్ వేర్ ఎవర్ యూ వాంట్ టు హ్యావ్ యూ కెన్ కట్ దట్ వన్
ఓకే సార్
క్లియర్ ఎవ్రీబడి
Yes.
Okay then. Okay. See you in the next class.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Yes.
హలో సార్ నోట్స్ పంపించారా అది ఎడిటర్ విండో నోట్స్ సెండ్ చేయండి సార్ క్లాస్
ఓకే
Can we have backup class items also?
బ్యాకప్ క్లాస్
Yesterday class.
Why you want to have backup class for yesterday's class?
Yesterday's positive event, sir.
I will discuss on Monday then.
Sir, this is Shruti, sir.